For most of your life, you probably heard the same thing again and again. Stop being lazy. Lazy people never succeed. If you want to become rich, you need to work harder than everyone else. And on the surface, that advice sounds completely logical. After all, every successful person talks about hard work, discipline, and grinding day and night. But here's something interesting. Some of the smartest and most successful people in the world actually think very differently about laziness. In fact, they intentionally design their lives so they don't have to work harder than necessary. They look for shortcuts, they automate tasks, they simplify everything. And strangely enough, that mindset often makes them more productive and more successful, not less. So the real question is this: what if laziness, when used the right way, can actually make you smarter with your time, your energy, and even your money? What if the desire to do less work is exactly what pushes people to create better systems, smarter solutions, and bigger opportunities? Today we're going to explore something fascinating: why being lazy can sometimes make you rich, according to psychology. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some of the most efficient people in the world actually think very differently about effort. The misunderstanding about laziness: when people hear the word lazy, they imagine someone who does nothing all day, someone who avoids responsibility, someone who wastes time. But psychology actually describes laziness in a more interesting way. Laziness is often the brain's way of trying to conserve energy. Your brain is constantly asking one question: how can I get the same result using less effort? From an evolutionary perspective, this behavior was extremely useful. Thousands of years ago, humans didn't have unlimited energy. Food was scarce. Survival required efficiency. So the brain naturally developed a habit of looking for shorter paths and easier solutions. This is why humans invented tools. Instead of carrying heavy things with bare hands, we invented wheels. Instead of walking long distances, we invented vehicles. Instead of calculating everything manually, we built computers. In other words, the desire to do less work has often been the driving force behind innovation. The lazy efficiency principle. There's a funny observation that appears in many workplaces. Sometimes the person who finds the fastest solution isn't the one who works the hardest. It's the one who hates doing repetitive tasks. Why? Because that person immediately starts asking questions like, there must be an easier way to do this. Instead of repeating the same task every day, they look for a way to simplify it. Maybe they automate it. Maybe they redesign the process. Maybe they eliminate unnecessary steps. Psychologists sometimes call this efficiency thinking. It's the mindset of constantly searching for ways to achieve results using less time and less effort. And this mindset is extremely valuable in the modern economy, because the people who build systems, tools, and processes that save time often create enormous value. The power of systems. Most people try to succeed through effort. They work longer hours, they push themselves harder, they rely on motivation. But the most successful people often rely on something else: systems. A system is something that works for you even when you are not actively working. For example, a business that runs automatically, an investment that grows over time, a process that repeats without constant attention. Building systems requires a different kind of thinking. Instead of asking, how can I work harder, you start asking, how can this work without me? This shift in thinking is powerful because systems scale. Effort does not. A person can only work so many hours in a day, but a system can operate continuously. Automation and modern wealth. If you look at many modern companies, you'll notice something interesting. They create enormous wealth not because people work endlessly, but because they build systems that operate automatically. Software is a perfect example. Once a program is built, it can be sold to millions of people. The creator doesn't need to repeat the same work for every customer. The system does the work. This is why many entrepreneurs focus heavily on automation. Automation reduces effort while increasing output. And from a psychological perspective, the motivation behind automation often begins with a simple thought: I don't want to keep doing this manually. Energy management advantage. Another reason productive laziness can be powerful is energy management. Human energy is limited. Your brain can only focus deeply for a certain number of hours each day. If you waste that energy on small, repetitive tasks, you have less energy left for important decisions. Successful people often protect their energy very carefully. They eliminate unnecessary work, they delegate tasks, they simplify routines. This isn't because they're incapable of working hard, it's because they understand that focus is more valuable than effort. By reducing small distractions in repetitive tasks, they free up mental space for bigger ideas. Decision fatigue. Psychologists have discovered something called decision fatigue. Every decision you make during the day uses a small amount of mental energy. What to wear, what to eat, what task to do next. Over time, these small decisions drain your ability to think clearly. This is why many successful people simplify their lives. They reduce unnecessary decisions. Some wear similar clothes every day. Some follow simple routines. Some automate financial decisions. By removing small mental burdens, they preserve energy for important choices, and this simple habit can dramatically improve productivity. The lazy investor mindset. Interestingly, the concept of productive laziness also appears in investing. Some of the most successful long-term investors follow extremely simple strategies. They don't constantly trade stocks. They don't chase every new trend. Instead, they focus on long-term growth and let time do the work. Psychologically, this approach requires patience. It also requires resisting the urge to constantly take action. In other words, the smarter strategy is sometimes doing less, not more, because overactivity often leads to mistakes. The danger of constant busyness. Modern culture often celebrates busyness. People proudly talk about working long hours. They treat exhaustion like a badge of honor. But busyness and productivity are not the same thing. Someone can work 12 hours a day and still achieve very little. Another person might work 4 focused hours and accomplish far more. The difference is clarity and efficiency. Productive people focus on high-impact tasks. They ignore low-value work. And often, the motivation behind that behavior is simple. They don't want to waste time. The creative side of laziness. Some of the most creative ideas appear when people are not actively working, taking a walk, relaxing, letting the mind wander. Psychologists call this default mode thinking. When the brain is relaxed, it begins connecting ideas in new ways. This is why people often get their best ideas in the shower or while traveling. Constant busyness blocks this creative process, but moments of idleness allow the brain to think more freely, and creativity is often the starting point for innovation. The real meaning of productive laziness. At this point, it's important to clarify something. Productive laziness does not mean avoiding work completely. It means avoiding unnecessary work. It means questioning inefficient systems. It means designing smarter processes. And it means protecting your time and energy so they can be used where they matter most. In other words, productive laziness is really about strategic effort, doing the right things instead of doing everything. Practical habits. If you want to apply this mindset in real life, there are a few simple habits that help. First, start identifying tasks that repeat frequently. If something must be done again and again, ask yourself whether it can be simplified or automated. Second, focus on high-impact activities. Not all work produces the same results. Some tasks move your life forward significantly. Others barely matter. Third, protect your time. Avoid filling your schedule with unnecessary obligations. The more space you create in your day, the more mental energy you have for important thinking. The bigger lesson. The deeper lesson here isn't that laziness makes people rich. It's that the desire for efficiency often leads to smarter decisions. People who constantly look for better ways to do things often end up building systems that multiply their effort, and those systems create opportunities for growth. Final message. For years, society has told us that success belongs only to the people who work the hardest, But reality is more complicated. Hard work matters, but smart work matters just as much. Sometimes the person who questions inefficient systems, the person who refuses to waste time, the person who looks for better solutions ends up creating something far more powerful than pure effort. So the next time someone tells you that laziness is always a weakness, remember this: the desire to do less work has often been the reason humans invented better tools, smarter systems, and more efficient ways of living. And when that mindset is applied in the right direction, it can become a powerful advantage, not because you avoid effort, but because you learn how to use it wisely. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more simple strategies about money, investing, and building wealth, make sure to subscribe to the channel. New videos are posted every week to help you understand money in the simplest way possible. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and share it with someone who wants to improve their financial future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.